banks and large companies are still hoarding cash, and I'm almost 110% sure it is. We're experiencing right now this deflation period that precedes very high inflation, and there is a fear of a liquidity crisis coming up. And what's going to happen is, sure as anything, Ben Bernanke is going to unleash QE again. I'll guarantee it, no doubt about it. But they are hoarding cash. I've been reading these stories for months now, and but my thing is hoard this stuff right here. This is what you got to be hoarding. Now, assume this was $100 an ounce right now at the end of the year. I think most people are into silver. Unlikely they'd be selling it. If they were selling any of it, they'd be selling a small portion of it, and they'd be holding the vast majority of it or all of it. So we know that right now the price is kind of irrelevant because it has a way of catching up and making up for lost time. So whatever it is today, 27 something spot, doesn't matter. This is your safety. And I keep thinking of that example about the tsunami. You know, when people see a tsunami before tsunami comes in, what happens to the ocean? It pulls way back out, and you see all this dry land wherever there never was dry land before. And then people don't know that a tsunami's coming, they're fooled. And they go out onto the dry land where there never was dry land, and they're going to get clobbered. So hold on to the silver. Talking about, this is a recent article, and talking about the euro hits 11-month low against the dollar. And, you know, I don't think this thing is going to crash right away, but there's going to be a million fears about it. But there's a lot of signs that banks are hoarding cash, hoarding the cash that was recently injected by the European Central Bank rather than lending it out. They're talking that as a bad omen for the European economy in 2012. But this is what I was always stating before. It's a very simple thing, that the money supply is going up, but the money isn't getting out into the economy. The velocity of money is very low. But this hoarding of cash, this always happens. There's deflation before very high inflation. The dam's going to break and it's going to come out. It also says, it also underlines the possibility that there's going to be a liquidity crunch, and it may be getting worse and will continue into the new year. Now, since they are thinking that, you know what they're going to do. They're going to increase the money supply. But people and companies and banks are holding on to the money. You know what's going to happen. It's a given. It's a given. This is a little older article but it's very pertinent to today. September 17, 2011, Wall Street Journal. It says non-financial companies held more than $2 trillion in cash and other liquid assets at the end of June 2011. The Federal Reserve reported that on Friday, but up more than $88 billion from the end of March. So they were, that's a significant gain in that short period of time. Cash counted for 7.1% of all companies' assets. Everything from buildings to bonds, the highest level since 1963. So that's 50 years, okay? So it's actually increasing more than that, and this trend has been going more and more since this time happened in this article's from September 17th, 2011. And it says some critics are pressing companies to put more money into investments and hiring, but the cash could be provided an important cushion for U.S. companies if European banks trigger a global financial crisis. So that's the big thing. It's the same game. Everybody is scared of spending the money, investing it. They're hoarding cash. And when the floodgates open, so what happens is the Federal Reserve is still increasing the money supply, but it's being held back by the banks, by the big companies and everything like that. And you're talking about J.P. Morgan did an analysis of public companies that disclosed foreign cash holdings and found that they held on to half the cash they amassed overseas. 11 companies, including Apple, Microsoft, Cisco Systems, held foreign cash balances of $10 billion or more. And I know Apple's got more cash than the U.S. Treasury. That's a fact. I forgot what the numbers are. I seen that someplace, and somebody told me that information that I was working with. And it's kind of funny, that you got companies that are more wealthy than the U.S. Treasury, but there are, and Apple's one of them. So they're loaded with cash, but they're holding on to it. But what's going to happen is the floodgates are going to open, and you know, people right now are telling you, if these other people, they love this fiat money. They're telling you silver's in a bubble or whatever. They are so wrong. It's sick. But you know what? I really don't care. I mean, that's the way I look at it. But this, there are signs all over the place that this is what's going on. The money supply is being increased. Companies, banks in Europe and in the United States, they're not putting it into the economy. They're not investing. They're not doing anything. They have a lot. They're accumulating more debt, but they are holding on to what they have as far as cash reserves. And I'm sure Ben Bernanke, I'm not going to say he's stupid, because I think he's a great guy, because you know what he's going to do? He's going to cause this stuff to go up so high, it's going to be ridiculous. And right now, looking at American Eagles for about $31 each, that is a fantastic deal. So I'm going to be getting some of these next week, and just keep adding them on. So, but I'm 100% certain what's going to happen. I'm 100% certain, and I just got to share that because the deflation scenario, it's very, very temporary. All the facts point to something else, and it's the same garbage that happened every time everywhere else. Keep bumping up the money supply. People are afraid to spend. Banks are afraid to lend. Companies are afraid to invest. They're hoarding cash. They keep pumping up the money supply a little more, and all of a sudden the trickle starts coming out, and then that causes prices to go up, and then, oh, we better buy this now. It's, that's when all the people get in there with the technical charts looking for investments. Oh, it's a trend is starting. Get in it. And on a smaller level, people might be looking at clothes, food, different things that they need. They're seeing they're going up in price. Buy. And that's what's going to happen. And that's when you're going to see everybody get into silver and gold. And that's going to fly up faster than even the other assets.